All right, welcome back, founders, for part 3 here in the Gab Lab. Today we're talking all about sales and making that sales call and generating that top line revenue. Alice Wheaton has been so kind to join us for our first 2 parts. We're here for part 3. So part 1, if you haven't watched it yet, is really just all about the planning necessary and the preparation. Part 2 is actually making the call. So it's getting on that call and the process and the pipeline. And now here in part 3, I think way too many founders forget this part. I think they 99% of their work, they're like, oh my gosh, we did the call, we got through all the fear and the anxiety and the discomfort, we did the proposal, we did the ask, we got the client, we got the prospect to turn into a client, and then it feels like the ball just kind of drops. It's like, okay, you know what, goal met. So I want to talk to you, Alice, about follow through and follow up. This is what this part is all about. And specifically, and I'm kind of thinking about some of the clients that I work with, that the salesperson will get the ball into the goal. They'll charge that goal line, they'll kick it, they'll land the ball, they score the point, and then it just kind of feels like the ball sits in the net. It's like no one's continuing with play. So how do we move that ball now? How do we, what does the transition look like from salesperson now into the customer relationship person? You talked about that there's a role for everybody. What should that handoff look like? What have you seen work?
And it's interesting, depending on the industry. For instance, I work a lot with self-employed CEOs who are interested in growing their business. And in the beginning, I mean, you've heard the expression, the chief cook and bottle washer, right?
Yeah.
They're the mechanic on their car. I've worked out of my house. I mean, I worked out of my house before people were working out of their house. So I've worked out of my house all my life. Plus I was a single mom. And then plus I continually bought revenue properties because I didn't have the bandwidth or the brain power to understand stocks and bonds investing, right? So that's the unique thing about entrepreneurs, is that we're multi-talented just as you are. And so, but we can't lose sight of, no matter what else we've got going on, the biggest thing we have to take care of is our business. And if we spend so much work getting a deal, and I've seen it too many times, and you have too, you get the deal and then you take the client for granted. And so, and if a client, they keep ordering again and again and again, typically then what happens is that maybe the salespeople will take them for, lunch once every 6 months or something. But oftentimes, if they got themselves inveigled into the process that their solution was improving, they would find new opportunities.
So what does that look like then? Like how often do you recommend, and I guess every business is different, but if we go to, and I guess now we're talking a little bit about the follow-up, how often do you recommend a salesperson stays in touch with that client?
Well, I categorize my clients as A, B, or C, and not necessarily about revenue.
Okay.
It's how much fun are they to work with? That's I mean, I'm not into having Debbie Downer days because my client was a cow, right? In fact, if clients become snappish or impatient or doesn't pay, then I will free up their future.
I love that. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And typically having a conversation, I call it, it's sort of like a gut busting conversation, but clients call us up and if we make a mistake. And so I might talk to a client and say, you ordered these suits, these cheerleading outfits. We built them for you. And what we noticed that they're coming back to be repaired a lot. And so my sense is that could have been because the fabric you chose was the least expensive, and it doesn't wash well. It doesn't hold up well. And I feel partly responsible for that. I should have been pushier and said, nope, you have to buy this product instead. So I'm going to add, what I'd like to do is redo them, and it'll cost you this much instead of that much. So your A clients are someone that you can have that kind of conversation with.
Okay.
Your B clients are someone that don't care about their image, right? And your C clients want the bare minimum. And so I follow up again according to A, B, and C. If someone's an A client, I phone them at least every single month.
And what do you say? Because you're not asking for business on each of those calls, I would imagine.
No, I'm following up, and I might even make fun of myself. I say, I know it's going to sound neurotic, but also this is a part is the pre-planning. The deal's done. Now, just so you know, Tanya, I'm a little bit neurotic about follow-up. So I probably will call you every month for the first 5-6 months.
Wow. Okay.
Now, you can tell me not to, and I'll be okay with that. But on the whole, my clients, Tanya, on the whole, my clients prefer, because sometimes we exchange ideas that they wouldn't have thought of beforehand. So now you're creating a benefit for your client.
Okay, so now here's the question, because I know I can hear the founders that I know, they're thinking, okay, well, we'll make that the customer service rep's job to actually do the follow-up.
You could do that,
okay.
But I would do the follow-up myself and then formally hand it over to a customer service rep. Oh, we're going to be on hey, John, Sue has joined our company, and her express role is to support our clients so that there's almost no glitches, and if there are, they're resolved almost instantly. She's going to be on a call with me today because I want to introduce you to her. I'll give her the history of our working together, and also at the same time, if you ever have any questions or concerns about Sue, you call me back right away.
So in my mind, I'm going again to your ABC level sales people. The C-level salespeople are the ones that want to hand it off to the customer relationship crew. And your A level are the ones that want to manage and own the relationship with the client at every stage. So even if it's about procurement, and even if the order is now in place and there's a team that's working on the order, your A-level salesperson is always going to be checking in to make sure the order's going according to plan, and then doing the follow-up, making sure it's being shipped on time, and then checking in with the client to make sure that they got it. They're owning that relationship, or at least making sure everything's getting done.
They're owning the satisfaction of the client.
Okay. Okay.
But they don't do it forever. They might do it for the first 3 months because their job is to go out and get a new client.
Okay, but then to this point about what about the next sale from that existing client?
The next sale exists because the A-level salesperson stays in touch, and so I advocate A-level salespeople every salesperson call A-level client once a month, B-level clients every 2 months, and C-level every 3 months, with the expressed objective of turning the C's into B's and B's into A's.
Okay.
But the salesperson can't be doing the customer service work because there's only so much time in the day.
But then the salesperson is always in touch with the client. Even when the client becomes an A-level, it's always going to be every 3 months to check in after the orders are done.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So in the beginning, for the first 3 months, it's every month, and then it can transition over to a customer service person or someone else. But if it's a B-level client and they've ordered, I don't know, 10,000 a quarter versus 100,000 a quarter, I still want to know, because to me, B-levels have high potential to become A-levels.
Okay. Okay. So I'm mistaken then, because I'm hearing you say that even with an A-level customer, once they are a repeat customer, then the salesperson exits that and it goes right to your customer service team.
Because their job is not customer service. They're big game.
Okay.
Closers.
Hence one of your books.
Yeah, it's one of my books.
Okay. So I think really But that's the core here of follow up and follow through, right? So ensure that the expectations were met, if not exceeded. That's on the role of the salesperson. And the salesperson is really there to ensure not only did the business get secured, but that next order or those referrals are secured. And then that is truly now an ongoing client. And then once you have that, then it can get passed on to your customer service team that will then take that ball and then keep it in motion.
And he or she always stays in touch with the customer service people. So,
right.
You know, even though the customer service person is now following up monthly.
Yes.
They are not completely out of the loop, because the customer service person will come and say, hey, John over here has got a real problem.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you know me, Alice, I'm all about planning and strategy, and you hate I over plan and over strategize, and can sometimes use that as a crutch. But so what I'm hearing, what I can see is kind of this metric where you've got A customers, B customers, C customers. You've identified what makes them A, B, or C. You've identified what will hopefully move them up, and then you've identified the touch points for each one of them. So when you'll be following up, who follows up with that customer, and what you say to actually try moving them through into these other quadrants, other pillars.
It's ultimately customer service is purpose driven.
Love it. Okay.
Because the purpose is to make sure our customers are happy, to find out if they need anything else, and to stay in touch.
Okay.
Right? That's the purpose. The purpose of the salesperson is to get the client.
Get the revenue in. Brilliant. Okay. So Alice, I know we just talked a little bit about books, and you've shown up so powerfully here over the last hour and a half with respect to making these calls and getting that ball into the net and then keeping the ball in motion. But outside of this call, what are the ways that you support founders? Do you do one-on-one work anymore with founders?
I do a lot of one-on-one work before.
Okay.
But here's a caveat. I really prefer working with founders where I can get involved and make the calls with them and for them, because there's no better way to teach it.
I hear that and I think, what a great sales, and I know it's not a pitch, but what founder doesn't want someone making the calls for them, right? But you put them on the hot seat too. I've seen you do it. Where,
I mean, you've seen me sit there and
yes,
day after day making outreach calls, setting appointments. I mean, what's the
yes. Yes. Well, I've also seen you put the founder on the hot seat and make the calls themselves while you're sitting there listening to them, right? Which is so key, because then they hang up and you can do this better next time. Did you notice that you rambled on this, right? Like tighten that up. And so
if the founder doesn't know, then they can't possibly manage and coach their people reporting to them.
Yes. Okay. And so, yes, I have been fortunate enough to watch you in action, and it's true. You're worth every single penny, because it forces people out of their comfort zone. You remind me of like a fitness coach that's watching a person do a squat. Like, do your squat. I'll watch you and I'll do one with you, and then watch your form and tell you what to do differently, but you don't let people off the hook, which is really important.
No, and sometimes the truth is I get more committed to their success than they are. Okay. As every single fitness instructor has found about me, they were more committed to me.
Working than I was. That's not true. That's not true. I see you in action. Okay. So one-on-one, and then I know that you're also a master of writing, and there's no fear in you getting your ideas out there on paper. So how many books do you have now? 4?
I've got 5 books.
5 books. Okay.
And I'm now writing, and this is what happens. I'm now writing books for CEOs.
Okay. All right.
And because I work with them, and I find out about their business and find out what it took to get them there. And always I'm uplifted and inspired and grateful for the opportunity to know them. And so I, a lot of times they say, well, I want to get some pieces that I can post on LinkedIn. Okay, well, let's sit and let me just give you the next 50 posts for LinkedIn or something like that.
Brilliant. And what's your latest sales book? The top 10, how the top 10% of CEOs,
how the top 10% do it.
okay. Awesome. And I know you've been very generous saying that, you know, if people want, we'll put the link to the book in the show notes so people can access that and be able to read a little bit about it.
Email me at alice@alicewheaton.com and
awesome. Get a signed copy.
Well, it'll be digital, so not quite. Well, yeah, I'll sign it, but you'll get a digital kind of.
Digital signature. Alice, well, thank you so much. You've invested so much time with us here today and with founders over the course of the last, 10, 20 years, and really helping people to understand the power of making that call, making that connection. I'm not going to say build relationship, but experiencing the competency required to get the call to actually land and then get that repeat business. And it means the world that you were able to show up here this morning on this call and share that message with founders. So thank you. And again, I'll put all of your contact information in the notes below. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Alice if you have been hesitating to make a phone call. If this episode didn't do it for you on making that call, please reach out to Alice. I promise you that she will be the light at the end of the tunnel or the fire under your butt, whichever it is that you need to start making those calls and getting that revenue in. And just a final shout out and words of appreciation for our show champion today, Community Future Sunrise. Again, thank you for all that you do for founders out there in Saskatchewan. You make a world of difference. So thank you, founders, for listening, for watching, however you're absorbing this content, and we'll see you back in here for the next episode of the Gab Lab. Bye for now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tanya. It's a pleasure as always.
Always. Thank you, Alice.